So with all the talk lately about rock tumblers, it brought back a lot of memories of when I first came here. So I thought I'd share a little bit about my process through the years. So I think I came in 2008, and I vaguely remember there was a bit of a honeymoon phase. I don't think it was very long. I think the veneer began to crack quite quickly, and misery set in. And mostly that was because I couldn't rely on all of the identities that I had formed out there. None of them served here at all, not one. And so that then made the self-centered attitude on red alert, red alert. And the way that I responded to that, of course, through all the conditioning, was to see all the harm that I was experiencing here from all the people. And of course, that increases the misery even more. And so for about, I think maybe 6 months at least, my main phrase in my mind every day, many times a day, was, "There are no enemies here." I just said that to myself over and over and over again. And of course, at first, I did not believe it. I would think that, and I'd say, "Yeah, sure, you bet." Yeah, I just didn't believe it. But of course, the beautiful thing about the mind is that if we keep putting something in there over and over again, pretty soon it becomes our reality. And so I started actually believing it after some time, which was very helpful. And what that did was slowly move my attention from outward focus to inward focus. And then I got to the idea that I'm responsible for my experience. Of course, then what that did was bring more pain because I saw what my experience that I was creating for myself was. So it gave me a lot of information about how my mind worked. Wasn't so skillful, I will say. So it was a humbling time, and I recognized that I had little compassion for myself. And again, all the identities that I created over a lifetime were worthless here. Not one of them was helpful. And so when I got to that place, really the only option with that kind of misery is to let go. And I remember the exact moment when that happened. I was once again irritated and angry because of something someone did or said. And of course, I can't remember what it was at all. That's gone. But I remember being angry, and the kind of anger that I have and had then especially was the cold ice kind, where I shut down and I withdraw, and I'm not even remotely available. And so I did that, and I was over in Ananda. This was when we didn't have all these buildings, and I was over there taking down the altar. And somebody came in, actually it was Venerable Tarpa, kind Venerable Tarpa, and she just brought some compassion and said some nice words to me. And I just remember I couldn't hold on to that icy anger anymore. Compassion won. I couldn't do it. And then I had the experience of the relief that brought, the freedom that brought. And that experience was very powerful, very powerful. And you can do all kinds of thinking about these kinds of things in your head and have the intellectual idea about it, but until you actually experience letting go, that's when it really gets clear, And so it was really the experience of dropping the afflicted mind, letting it go, dropping it. And then what comes in that space is, of course, a choice, and it can be compassion then, or love, or, equanimity, whatever. And so that's what came. And I don't think I'll forget that experience of that freedom in this lifetime. I don't think I'll forget that ever. It was very powerful. And so then, after that, I was gung-ho to really stop all of these afflictions. And so I applied the usual method that I applied in my life, which I was going to force it out of there. And that doesn't work. That doesn't work. So that's punishment. That becomes punishment. And so it took some more time and practice to recognize that trying to be harsh to myself and forcing out these afflicted states really just brings more misery and keeps them in and really feeds them, actually. So the good news was throughout that time, twice daily purification practices and setting motivations with the bodhicitta motivation before activities. And those two activities here over some time start working on the mind and getting the mind clearer. So those two practices are really powerful, subtle, but very powerful over time. And so then that helped me see how my method of trying to work on the afflicted states of mind by using harshness and criticism wasn't serving and didn't work at all. And so that led me to a clearer idea of relating to myself with some compassion and to figure out how to open my heart to myself and to accept where I was. And so I started doing that. And that then opened the door to start having that same kind of response to others. And it got very clear to me that I really can't treat others with compassion if I'm criticizing and harsh to myself. That just doesn't even make sense. And so again, it brought me back to my practice in here. So everything that we do here, if we pay attention and if we let go, brings us back to here. And if we work here, then the result outward is going to start looking kind of beautiful, I think. And so I'm very thankful for this place. When I think about what my life would have ended up being out in the world, it would not have been a pretty show, I will say. And so right now, if I die tomorrow, it's okay. Not so much regret. Pretty clear now. And it's because of the practice and because of the rock tumbler and the kind people here. Thank you.